You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, we are YBM Chat Podcast. Instagram at YBM Chat. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at YBM Chat.
Hey, it's Dashia D.
Hey, it's Tre'Dub.
Hey, it's LadiiNova.
And we are
YBM Chat.
Young Black Millennials offering you a fresh new take you didn't know you needed.
Boy, ye. So what I want to talk about is about, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview with Oprah. So if you guys haven't seen it, to basically put it all into a 5-second blurb, it basically was about both of them leaving the palace to kind of like, develop their own lives and kind of, do their own thing with everything like that. And to kind of, for Meghan more so to express her personal experience while being in the palace for about 2 years during their marriage. So to kind of like, be kind of quick with it. So she expressed a lot of what she went through as far as like an anxiety, depression, and also being suicidal during the time of her being in the palace. So it was a lot that she uncovered in there. And just to kind of like, go through the key points of what she discussed of leaving basically leaving the royal family around March of 2020 after everything kind of transpired. But before then, she was, like I said, she was feeling a lot of anxiety and depression while she was pregnant with their son Archie. So to kind of run through the list, she was discussing how outside of like her being made out as a villain, the British tabloids basically sent out a lot of press saying how she basically called her a racist and how she was basically hard to deal with, because I don't want to say the B word. And she also made she made a point that basically her and Prince Harry's life was controlled by the institution. It just bothers me how, everyone barks on, expressing that you need help with mental health, expressing that you need to, speak up and kind of let people know that you're feeling away. And she did just that, but yet nothing was able to get done for her.
So what I did see, all of it pissed me off because it was all stupid. When I saw people's responses to it, like Piers Morgan, who felt like, her cutting off people was weird and he didn't like that. And I'm like, she did that for her own personal, health, her own mental health. As far as Prince Harry's part in this, I applaud him because he was like, this is the same thing my mama went through. She was a commoner who got married to his dad. She didn't like the way things were going. She was leaving. And in the midst of her leaving, that is when she had her car accident and she died. He was like, he's like, I can't imagine what my mom felt going through this by herself. And the way me and my wife are going through this together, at least we have each other, but it's still hard. Again, Piers Morgan felt like, I don't think it was a racial thing of them asking the color of the baby. Why does that matter?
Exactly.
Y'all act like Archie was gonna come out looking like any of us. She is a lighter shade. She's married to a white man. He ain't gonna come out looking like us. That's not how genetics work. That's not a thing at all.
I think it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
They basically assume that he's gonna come out looking like my beard.
I think it's interesting that they like sought refuge in the U.S. away from racism. I just find it ironic that you're leaving one place because it's racist to then come here. I don't. Have you not been watching the news just within the past year? Just in the past year, just alone.
I mean, but
I don't understand.
for it to come from, I guess, the palace, something that is always upheld with the most respect, and you don't think most people wouldn't think.
Or
I know this
racism.
is
Where do
what
you think
people,
America got it from?
Okay.
but still, I feel like
Hold on. Why are we surprised? That is where my mind is blown. I don't understand why everybody's watching this interview like, oh my God, I cannot believe. Yes, you can believe that they care about his skin color and that they're being. I don't understand why that's a shocker. I don't get it. I feel like that would be the case. If you are a person of color and you're getting into an interracial relationship with a person who is white, would that never cross your mind that that family may have some people somewhere that may not like you or like your child simply because you're Black? Does that not cross your mind? It should. If you're planning to bring a child into the world, you need to know who their family is going to be. She said in that interview she didn't do any research on the family. Why not? Mm-hmm. You're about to be changing your entire life. You left your career. You moved yourself to a different continent, married this person, and had a son, at that, a Black son. And now he had to be in a toxic environment where people don't like him simply because he has a drop of Black.
Do you think that because of who her husband is, she didn't think that the family would be as bad?
Man, please.
No, I'm just saying, like, you have.
I don't care if her husband was from California. California is one of the most open-minded places there are. If I am with a white man, right, exactly. If I am with a white man, I am going to be mindful of that, especially if I'm having kids.
Okay, and that's my thing. I feel like, okay, say you're in a racial relationship or whatever, and this is past Meghan and Harry at this point. Just any general interracial relationship. Is it up to the person, to the white person, to tell their family ahead of time that, hey, this person is African American, or this person is Black? Like, so whatever concerns you have, let's make that known right now before I decide to marry this person or to like actually take it serious. You know, in my opinion, it should be up to that main party to at least say something to the family, so that way, like, if there is any scuttlebutt, that it be addressed beforehand before it gets too serious. You know, because at some point this person is going to meet your family, so you want them to be surprised that, hey, oh shit, she's Black and dark skin at that.
So this is Dashia D. A quick little interlude. Our conversation about Meghan and Harry's interview led into us talking about the difference between being referred to as Black versus African American. Now, I feel one way and my co-hosts feel another. So sit back, relax, and get into this debate.
My brother just said that because he was at work and this some older guy, and it was him and the guy, my brother, and another Black boy that was in the truck together. And I guess the guy felt comfortable, and he was like, "Yeah, I like you colored boys." My brother was like,
"See, even though
he was like, so he was like, I get what you meant, but don't say that to nobody else, because they ain't gonna be understanding like me." He was like, "I like you colored boys." So it's like, for, I guess, him and my brother joke about some things where he didn't take it too bad, but anybody else, it would have been like, "I will fight you in your own car," and think nothing of it.
Again, that is different because during the civil rights time, that's what things were labeled, colored. So I could see why if somebody called you colored, that would bring up some stuff, because that's when we talk about history, that's what you see. You see all these signs of white only, colors only. I don't ever recall seeing a sign that said blacks only, or for blacks, or blacks enter this way. That's what I'm saying. Like, if someone calls me Black, I'm not going to get offended. Now, if an old person called me colored, to me, I'm making the assumption that you're coming from this place that you actually lived during segregation, where we were seen as inferior to you. I don't know.
And see, with that, I use that opportunity, no matter how old they are, me personally, to let them know that that's not okay. Because it's like now we're in a different time where now I'm sharing the same building as you. I'm sharing the same bathroom as you. So it's like you can't call me colored or call me a nigger or whatever the case is, because you're also stuck in this old time frame that, you know, all of us were called, you know, that pretty much that. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like I use that, me personally, I use that opportunity to simply let them know that, hey, that's not okay. You know, you're not about to call me that. Like, especially if you're older. A child, that's different, because I feel like they're still developing their mindset to understand the world outside of their household. In my opinion.
I said that to my parents. I said that to my parents. I'm like, this whole old people being set in their ways, I'm not buying that anymore. Because if they can get out here and learn how to operate these new TVs and these new phones, you know right from wrong, just like everybody else. So if you're coming to me in a way that's like, you know, when I came up, this is what it was. I've seen people say on TV that's like, which one do you prefer? And does this make you feel type of way? If you're coming at me in that type of light, then it's like you're actually wanting to know and not offend people versus you just being like, well, blacks is better because, you know, when I was coming up, we just straight up colored and niggas and all this. And it's like, okay, but I was not born back then. So whatever you're talking about from back then, that don't apply to me. And now I'm gonna feel like you're talking about my dead grannies and I gotta fight you.
I actually disagree. I don't feel the need to educate somebody who is in their 60s or 70s, especially if I don't have any relationship to them. If I'm not going to have any other interaction with you beyond us being in the same Walmart, I really don't care. I mean, like, I don't feel like my 5-minute conversation with you is going to be so mind blowing that it's going to now change a way that you have thought throughout your entire life. I feel like I would be wasting my breath, to be honest with you.
But what if y'all work together to where y'all are going to see each other every day, or, you know, in some consistent type of thing?
I pick and choose my battles. I have dealt with a good, healthy bit of racism since stepping into the career
That's why I feel like this question for you matters more than us.
Yeah, and honestly, my last job, there was an incident where I was so pissed off to the point where I wanted to go to that person's home and confront them. And I am not this rah, let me come at you person, but I have never been I've never been disrespected on that level ever in life, ever. I've dealt with kids for a long time, and parents are the hardest part about dealing with kids. Certain situations is just not worth it because I already work in mental health. So I have to take care of my own at the end of the day. And me trying to go around and be this change agent, this social justice warrior all the time is not serving me based on who the person is. Now, if it's a kid like this, I have a child who likes to talk about races. I don't think this part was recorded. Now, with this child, I feel like I can call her in versus calling her out because she's a kid and it's a safe space. If it was like a racist teacher or something like that, and I don't really have to interact with you, I'm good. I don't need to talk to you. Now, if you do something that is harmful to me, or you do something that's harmful to my kids, not my actual children, the kids that I counsel, then I'm going to say something to you. Yes. But if you're not impacting me and you're not hurting any of the kids I work with, I can't do that to myself because I know exactly how I felt at that last job when that happened. I felt so emotional for several days. I couldn't imagine doing that on a consistent basis. No.
I'm not saying you got to be raw about it, but I agree with you on choosing your battles. Older people that if I came across them, because by the grace of God, I haven't, because my attitude is bad. If you came at me with that, I'm not going to sit here and have a conversation. I'm going to look at you like you fool. But now, if you feel like you're going to, antagonize me with that, you may as well be prepared for your hip to be broken, because I ain't my granny. I actually worked with a couple of people. I won't even say what job. I'm pretty sure y'all can guess. But they just felt comfortable saying the N-word. And I was like, what makes you think that that's okay? And they hit me with the same stuff where it's in music and all that, and I'm like, okay, and what is that
You're my
supposed to
black friend.
music? That came up too, and I was like, oh, my friend doesn't have a problem with that. I said because they did not endure any of what that had to do with it. I said, granted, I didn't, but I had to listen to my grandparents. My grandmothers let me know what they went through for that word. I've had my godmother telling me that because her skin was very light, people were jealous and they started cutting her arms because they didn't like her complexion. I'm like, this is the stuff that I had to hear and learn, not just from a school book, because a school book ain't gonna tell you crap, but this is people in my family and my life that endured these things. And you just feel like it's a word. And I let them know, I was like, y'all are gonna come across people that are older than me. They ain't gonna care what you think that you heard in the song and all this other stuff. And it came a night where people came in. Well, now y'all know what job it was, Waffle House. Again, it would have been obvious. Couple came in, they ordered food, and the guy started saying stuff. And then he was like, no, you people are taking it the wrong way. And they looked and was like, you people. And he looked at me, he was like, Megan, can you help me? And I was like, no, because I told you to keep your mouth shut. I said, y'all, I told you this. I said, what am I supposed to be, an advocate for you now? I'm supposed to be understanding because it's in music? No, I said, that's not even something that I go around saying in front of older generations because that's rude. Especially if I know that's not something that's in their vocabulary or something they want to hear.
Also, music is subjective to that person's experience. That is not your experience. People talk about depression, people talk about anxiety, people talk about being suicidal in their music. So if someone talks about those subject matters, that means you're going to then internalize that too.
Yeah, I've been.
Come on, man.
I've been got all of the music taking over your life and over your vocabulary and all of that shit. But I do have a question for y'all. This just came to my mind. So y'all remember when I used to work at Panera Bread or whatever, and of course, like that's a very dominant certain type of audience. But anywho, so this one particular person who happened to be Caucasian said, and this wasn't even at work. This was like we was like at a party or something like that. And so like I was there and everyone else that was in that friend group was Caucasian as well. So anywho, so he said to me that, we now have, and I quote, we now have a black friend that has a 12-inch penis.
Oh my.
He said this to me. That and that we'll be able to pull, get a lot of females now. So of course at the time I didn't think anything of it or whatever. But now, or not even now, but like maybe like I would say a little after college, I think about that moment and it felt a way to me. But I kind of wanted to get you guys' interpretation of that and that type of example of what I could have done better. Had I.
They were referring to you or just a black person?
No, they were referring to just a black person that I guess the stereotype is like, most black men and a guy
are well endowed.
Exactly. So yeah.
I mean, you were in high school.
It could have been any black guy.
Right, but you were in high school, and I feel like it takes a person going through different, like having more experience with that kind of stuff to know how they're going to handle themselves. Because sometimes you're honestly just in shock when someone has the wherewithal to like say something like that to your face. You're like, this just happened. This is happening right now.
And I had that moment like, should I be upset?
Right. I don't know. I feel like you were in high school and you just didn't know how to respond to that. So I don't feel like not saying anything wasn't necessarily the wrong thing. I had racist moments in college. Not that I was racist, but someone else was.
Yeah.
Clarify. Right. And in the moment I didn't respond, but then I responded later. And no one said, they didn't apologize. They didn't give any feedback. They just stared at me. The entire class just stared at me. And afterwards I was like, man, maybe I should have said anything because it didn't matter. Went to a different class, told them the whole story, and they apologized for their white counterparts. They were like, we're so sorry that they're so ignorant. That is crazy. And it made me feel validated and like, oh, so people who look like y'all just don't think the way you do. Know that y'all are wrong.
As always, join us every Monday. Like, comment, subscribe, and hashtag yes, it's up. Peace out, y'all.